Okay, Bets, so far we've put in 1 packet of dry yeast, 1 cup of flour, 1.25 cups of warm water, and 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. And we've mixed that all together with a whisk. Now we're just waiting for the yeast to start bubbling. Okay, B, so after about 15 minutes of the yeast activating, I dumped in 1/2 cup of raisins, some more flour, and about 1 tablespoon of salt. Not quite a tablespoon, maybe about, let's say 3/4 tablespoon to 1/2 tablespoon. You can see how it looks in my hand. Now I'm going to stir everything up. And I'm going to keep adding flour until it gets to be the right consistency. So you just stir it around, get it mixed up. Okay, I'm going to add more flour now. There's no particular amount of flour as far as cups go because you just add it till it gets to be the right consistency. Okay, so I'm going to turn the phone off for a few minutes here. You can see it's starting to get a little stiff now when I stir it, but it's still not mixed up all the way. So I'm going to turn the phone back off and stir it more. Actually, I should have put in the cinnamon right after I added the cup of flour, or the little bit of flour after the raisins. It would have mixed up better, and I actually forgot. So now I'm just going to add it right now and stir it up. So you can kind of put a good amount of cinnamon in there, as you can see. And that's going to be just about how we're going to leave it. We're going to cover it up. There's not too much more you can do here. It's all mixed up pretty good, and we've stirred it for a while. So I'm going to clean the spatula and then cover it up with saran wrap. Put a towel on top of it. Okay, so the bowl's covered up with saran wrap, and I'm going to put a towel on it, and it'll sit for probably about 4 or 5 hours before we go on from there. Okay, Bets, this is about 4.5 or 5 hours later, and you can see how much everything has risen. Now what I'm going to do is take a stirrer and knock it down like that.
Is your chocolate?
No, I don't want it.
Oh.
And then cover it up again and let it rise again, and it'll be a lot of hours because it's 8:50 at night, and I'll check it in the morning. The dough has risen again, so what we're going to do is scrape it out of the bowl, put it on what do you call it? A cutting board or whatever, something clean surface, and we're going to form a loaf out of it, and then we're going to put that. After we form the loaf, we're going to put it on a baking sheet, which would have parchment paper. I have silicone on mine, but parchment paper would do. And then we're going to cover it with a damp towel and let it sit for about 1.5 hours or 2 more hours before we bake it. So I'll show you how we form the loaf. Jolly's going to...
Hi, Bets. I'm going to film your grandfather.
So we scrape the bowl, gets this into a ball. Oops, I forgot to sprinkle some flour on our mat and then on my hands so I can handle this stuff.
Because it'll get real sticky if you don't use flour.
Alright, so now I'm going to put it down here. I'll put a little more flour, not much, on top of it. Now I'm going to press it down like this, and then I will fold it in a little bit, like this, and then I'm going to fold it in again like this, and then flip it over, and then I'm going to just try to form just kind of like a round ball with it. You can see that, just kind of turning it around, make it nice and round. Now I'm going to go put it on the cookie sheet over here, and I will let it, I'm going to cover it with a damp towel.
And if you look at it, it's very smooth.
Okay. I'll cover it with a damp towel, and then in about an hour and a half or so, we'll take it and put it in the oven. Thank you. See ya. Okay, Bets, it's been about 2 hours since we put this thing on the cookie sheet. So I'm taking off the towel, and you can see that it has just about doubled in size. So it's ready to go into the oven. I set the oven for 400 degrees. It's already been preheated. So we'll put it in there, and it'll probably take 35 minutes or so. We'll check it as it goes along. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven. Okay, Bets, here's the finished product after baking for 35 minutes at 400 degrees. Bon appetit.